There's a strange contradiction many people live with. On the surface, they're doing more than ever. They're learning, improving, trying to be intentional about their lives, and yet internally they feel behind their peers, behind their expectations, behind some invisible timeline they never consciously agreed to. This feeling doesn't come from lack of effort, it comes from awareness. When you start growing intentionally, your perspective widens. You see more paths, more possibilities, more versions of who you could become. And paradoxically, that expanded awareness makes the distance feel larger. When you weren't growing, you didn't feel behind. You felt comfortable, or distracted, or numb. Growth removes numbness. It sharpens perception. Suddenly, you notice how much you don't know yet, how far certain goals still feel, how uneven progress can be. And the mind, trained to measure progress linearly, misinterprets this as failure. But psychologically, feeling behind is often a sign that growth has already started. You don't feel behind because you're stagnant. You feel behind because you've raised your internal standards. Your old benchmarks no longer satisfy you. Your old pace no longer feels aligned. So the gap you feel isn't between you and others. It's between who you were and who you're becoming. That gap feels uncomfortable because it's undefined. There's no clear finish line, no external confirmation that says you're on track. And in a world obsessed with visible progress, invisible growth feels invalid. This is where comparison sneaks in. Not because you want what others have, but because you're looking for orientation. You're trying to locate yourself on a map that keeps shifting. Social media intensifies this feeling. You're exposed to outcomes without context, milestones without timelines, success without the invisible years underneath. So your mind fills in the gaps with assumption. They're ahead. I'm late. I should be further by now. But those thoughts ignore one crucial truth. Growth doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in layers. There are phases where progress looks explosive and phases where it looks invisible. In the invisible phases, the internal systems are being rebuilt, habits are stabilizing, identity is recalibrating, priorities are reshuffling. These changes don't show up externally yet, but without them, long-term progress collapses. Feeling behind often happens when your external results haven't caught up to your internal changes. You've changed how you think, how you respond, how you choose. But the environment hasn't reflected that shift yet. That lag can feel frustrating, even discouraging. But it's not a warning sign. It's a transition phase. The danger isn't feeling behind. The danger is interpreting that feeling as a signal to rush. When people rush, they skip integration, they chase shortcuts, they abandon processes that haven't finished maturing. Patience here is not optional, it's essential. Because growth that isn't integrated eventually creates instability. If you're in this phase, you don't need to speed up, you need to stay steady. You need to trust that alignment comes before acceleration. The feeling of being behind doesn't mean you missed something. It means you're no longer asleep to your potential. That awareness hurts before it empowers. But if you stay with it long enough, it sharpens into clarity. You stop racing imaginary timelines. You stop measuring your worth by comparison. You stop interpreting quiet progress as failure. And eventually, without realizing exactly when it happened, you catch up to yourself. Not to others, to your own growth. And when that happens, the feeling of being behind dissolves, because you're finally moving at a pace that belongs to you.